Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes when a big company needs something new from its software? It almost always kicks off with a request that sounds, well, deceptively simple. So let's dive right in and explore that hidden, complex world that's humming just beneath the surface of a modern business. So picture this. You're sitting in a meeting and someone from the business side says, "Hey, we need a new order type for this new business process for launching." Sounds totally reasonable, right? I mean, it's just a new way to sell something. It's just another little option in a drop-down menu. Yeah, exactly. Your first thought is probably, just copy the old one and rename it. Done. And that right there is the big question we're tackling. How hard could that possibly be? Well, stick around, because the answer, it might completely change the way you think about the digital backbone of a global company. And that thinking leads us straight into what a lot of experts call the consultant's hidden trap. See, when you're dealing with a massive interconnected system, we're talking about something like SAP, the software that runs the core operations for so many huge companies. That simple copy and paste path, it's almost always a one-way ticket to disaster. And this is where you see the huge difference in mindset. The novice, the rookie, they just see a simple task to check off a list. But the expert? They see a fundamental change to the business's entire digital blueprint. They get that a new order type isn't just some new label. No way. It's like weaving a brand new thread into the massive, complex fabric of the company's day-to-day operations. Right, so the expert doesn't even touch the keyboard at first. They don't start by configuring anything. They start by blueprinting. And this isn't some technical job, it's more like a strategic investigation. It's all about figuring out the why, long before you ever get to the how. And that investigation, it's basically an interrogation, a whole series of critical questions. And each one peels back another layer of complexity. Like, okay, does this order actually lead to a physical delivery, or is it just for a service? Are we moving actual stock from a warehouse? Does it have to be linked to a pre-existing contract? What about pricing? Is it standard or something special? Getting these answers first is what prevents those absolute catastrophic failures later on. Okay, so once that blueprint is crystal clear, then we can finally head down into the engine room. This is where all those business rules we just talked about get translated into the system's logic. It's where strategic decisions become actual functioning code. And welcome to what's known as Transaction VOV8. Now, don't let the weird name fool you. Think of this as the master control panel for sales orders. Seriously, this is where you define the absolute core DNA of an order, how it's born, how it behaves throughout its life, and exactly how it talks to every other part of the business. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. The stakes in this control center are incredibly high. A single, tiny, innocent-looking checkbox in here, just one click, can literally be the difference between a smooth, profitable process and a multi-million-dollar accounting nightmare that could take weeks or even months to untangle. So here's what's so crucial to understand. It's all about how these technical-sounding settings translate into real-world business impact. They're basically the system's guardrails and safety nets. For instance, you see that reference mandatory setting? That's not just a rule, it's a digital guardrail that physically stops a user from making a huge mistake, forcing them to link the order to a contract, and then you got check credit limit. That's the safety net, catching a potentially risky sale before it causes a massive financial problem. But here's the thing. Getting that one order type configured is really only the beginning. Because in a system like this, nothing, and I mean nothing, lives in a vacuum. That one new configuration sends a ripple effect across the entire order-to-cash process, and that ripple effect is managed by something called copy controls. And honestly, the best way to think of these is as the system's central nervous system. They are the rules that connect everything. They tell the sales order exactly how to pass its information to the delivery document, then they tell the delivery how to talk to the invoice, making sure that absolutely nothing gets lost in translation along the way. It's basically a digital domino effect. The sales order, that's the first domino you push. And if it's set up correctly, it falls and perfectly knocks over the next one, the delivery document, which then knocks over the invoice, which finally knocks over the accounting entry. But if you set up that first domino just a little bit wrong, the whole chain reaction just collapses. And that is exactly why the testing has to be so intense. You can't just test the happy path, the scenario where everything goes perfectly. You have to run what are called negative tests. You have to actively try to break it. What happens if a user tries to cheat the system and create an order without a contract? Does the system catch it and stop them like it's supposed to? You don't just have to prove that it works when things go right. You have to prove it doesn't fall apart when things go wrong. So all of this really brings us back to the main idea here. This job isn't about just executing a task. It's about being an architect, designing a durable, reliable solution that has to fit perfectly into a much, much larger structure. So after all of that investigation, configuration, and testing, how many critical checkpoints are there before this one simple change can actually go live? The answer is going to surprise you. 10. Yup, 10. That's the minimum number of critical, high-level checklist items that an expert has to verify before a single new order type can go live. We're talking everything from defining the order type itself, to mapping all those copy controls, to making sure the security authorizations are right. 10 major architectural pillars that all have to be absolutely perfect. And all of it started from that one simple business request. So, the next time you hear what sounds like a simple request at work, I want you to remember all this and ask yourself, is the job really about knowing which buttons to press or which settings to check? Or is it something way more profound? Is it about being the architect who carefully, deliberately designs the digital DNA of an entire global business?